it's been quite a while that this has been coming. We talked a little bit about my ages, like 3 through 6 when I entered primary school the first day. We talked about the most beautiful experience, you know, looking at ships and looking at boats carrying bananas and seeing, you know, wives and trucks and vans moving towards the, it's just one of the best things ever. Huh? You know, before I get into the grades, being 6-year-old was a different type of experience. You feel like you're grown. Now you're away from one school. Even though I didn't know what the path was that we were going to enter into high school or secondary school later on, the one thing that was there and evident was that we were at an all-age school with big boys, you know, and big girls. And I remember some of the big boys and some of the big girls. You know, they were older, but they were people from my community, and it was okay. You feel safe with some of them, and some of them you're scared of them as a 6-year-old entering into all-age school. So you have A class, B class, all right? So A class is grade 1, B class is grade 2. Then you had grade 3, 4, 5, all in one building. So grade 1 by itself, grade 2 to 5 in one building, and then 6 through 9 in another building. So the 6 through 9 is an upper class, meaning the higher class, and they were at a higher building. So you're a lower class, and you always wonder what's going on. Sometimes you hear some screaming and yelling in the big building, and you wonder what's going on. Well, let's describe the school property. We have two buildings, and then there was a place called Center. Center happened to be where they did vocational training, you know, learning how to cook, learning how to use their hands to make potteries and all of that, so mechanic. And when I got to school, that must have been the last year that Center was in operation. So Center, there was a little field where people play cricket and play base. And then there is a canteen that served the purpose of lunch or to give away powder. What do they call the powder again? It stick on your face. I forgot. Some kind of powder. It's milk, powdered milk. That's right. That's what it was. Powdered milk, and every now and then they have an overabundance of powdered milk, and every student would get a pound bag to get home to take home. And by the time you get home and you start eating out of your bag, your eyes and your hair and everything already messed up, you know, because it's kind of sticky. Once it gets wet, you can't control it, you know. So the canteen was there. But the most frightening part of my primary school days, the initial parts, by the way, was to see a lot of tombs. There were, you know, tens of tombs out there. And at break time, you know, kids were playing between the tombs. But where we come from, you don't play with tombs. You don't play around tombs, you know. You know, dumpy business. You don't play around tombs. Ghost, the possibility of someone rising out of a tomb was always right there, you know, to me. And so, you know, I didn't play around those tombs for a long time, probably until I got to like grade 3 or grade 4, because it was very scary. A class was very packed. There were, you know, no less than about 60, 70 kids in an A class. It's a big room, Well, those days would be, I don't even know what the size of it was, but it was looked pretty big to me. And there were like two sets of A class. There was A and B, A class A and A class B. So two different sets of kids. We learned from the same board. And I remember on that board, the top of the board, it showed you how to, the ABCs in two different ways, in block capitals and then in cursive. And that was permanently placed up there. I remember that very clearly. I remember playing to me was under the school. You know, the one thing that was I was different was that we always had water at school, but we never always had water at home. You know, where I grew up, there wasn't any water. We had to go carry water, right? So at home, in the mornings, we had to get up early and go a half a mile down the street if there's no water in any of the pipes, and go catch water with zinc pans and with big pans or buckets or whatever it is that you can have. And then you have to walk a half a mile with water on your head to take home to have a bath, or to wash your hand and your foot and your face to go to bed, or something like that, or to cook, or for your mom, because your mom needs water. So when you carry water for both you and your mom sometimes, right? Because she wants the more water. And so we didn't have a lot of water in Canna Pond. The water would come there probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're sleeping, and then it goes away by 5 o'clock in the morning. So you don't get to the pleasure of seeing water running through the pipe. So by 5 o'clock, we have to walk down far to get the water. One of the rough things is that there are people coming to these pipes with donkeys with hampers, right? And they have big containers, and they're coming from far. They're coming from like Days Mountain or Airy Hill with their donkeys. And it was hard because if they get there before you, you have to sit on away because the water comes out of the pipe very slow. It wasn't very fast. And so you have to sit there and wait for a long time for this donkey man to fill up his whole container, and then you leave. And then when he leaves now, then everybody gets to go. So it was kind of hard standing there, because you know that you have to go to school, you know that you have to catch water, you have to go home and take a bath or something like that to go to school. And this donkey man was there waiting, taking up all the time. And so sometimes the splatter of the water, you leave with a full container. By the time you get home, it's 3/4, because you don't know how to balance that water on your head yet. And so the shock to me was, we had water at school at the stand. There are like 5 or 6 different pipes, one over here and one over here, 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 and they always had water. It wasn't. I know. So that was a good thing for me, because we always had water to drink at school, even when you're hungry. That canteen, oh my God, was something else. I don't know if you remember what the fried dumplings look like at lunch. Never had it. I just know what it looks like, because my mom always gave me money to buy patties. So I never had to go to canteen to get. But when I would take my lunch back, I would see these aluminum plates, and then you see these really big dumplings. If you burst the dumpling open, it's empty inside. So it looked like they pack it up with just to seem like a full belly. They put a lot of baking soda or baking powder on it and fry it, and it swell up like that. So kids think that they're getting a whole heap of food, but it's really a small amount. And so I remember that canteen very, very, very clearly. The cups were aluminum, the plates were aluminum, and if you bring your lunch back to your classroom at end of lunch, your responsibility is to take it back down to the canteen. But it's always kind of messy after kids are done eating in A class after lunch. But I remember A class very, very clearly. I remember B class. There was a lady by the name of Miss Skyers teach me in A class. And then Mrs. Wade taught me in grade 2, which is B class. I remember that. And then Miss Hilton taught me in grade 3. One thing I was good at was singing. And I guess I started that very early, because in A class, we were going to festival to compete. A class, B class, grade 3, grade 4. I entered festival every year. Whether or not we came in first, second, or third, we were always there in the finals coming up. And it went all the way through. So A class, B class, all the way through to grade 6, we were entering festival and winning something, you know. It was a time also when I first went to the pantomime during Christmas and the holidays of Christmas, around Christmas. We got a chance to go on the bus and go to Kingston and stuff. But mom was enterprising. My mother was very enterprising. My dad was kind of different. He's always had a job from I know him. But my understanding is that he too was enterprising. I'll give you a little joke about I hope it's a joke. My mom and dad. My last sister is my dad's heart, was my dad's heart. Me, I was my mom's heart, I think. And my dad used to beat me. You know, he'd come home and just beat me for nothing, you know. If he says, boy, go on and sweep the yard, I'm not go fast enough, me get beaten, you know. If we go on the yard, the sweep good enough, me get beating. And I recall one time my mom did not like my dad beating me so often, you know. And mama, my younger sister was his heart. And I remember that one time he was beating me because I wasn't sweeping the yard fast enough or something like that. And he brought me in and started to beat. My mom caught my little sister and started whoop her for nothing, just because my father beat me. So beat for beat, my father licked me, my mother lick her, you know, and it's funny because him couldn't take the fact that my little sister was getting beating, so him leave me alone and drop me and me run out of the place. But that was a fight between mom and dad. You know, he might beat me for nothing. Mama beat her for nothing too. So, growing up, I don't know about the beating thing nowadays, because that's out. You know, I don't know if parents, I know that teachers can't beat you anymore, but we went through school getting our butts thrashed at school, and when we go home, we get our butts thrashed just the same way. And the way I grew up, you know, anybody who's my mom's friend or close friends or stuff, if we're doing anything wrong on the streets, it was a community thing. They could beat me too and carry me home and say, Pam, your boy up on the street and do this, or your boy up on the street and do that. And then she would take me and whoop me too, you know. But Mama was a different kind of person, you know. But I love my mom to death. I do. And but we had some rough times as kids. We had some really, really rough times. I remember how it started when I was in grade 1. She started going to Kingston to buy stuff, bring home back to Oracabessa and sell it. You know, so she'd have a dulcim in her grip, and she'd go to Kingston and fill it up with stuff, come back, sell all this. It's just, she was a higgler, what we call a higgler. And she would go to Kingston and walk down King Street and pick up stuff. You know, hairnet, comb, shoes, and whatever was there that she could buy, in abundance and for cheaper. She would buy it and bring home, and she would walk around Oracabessa and sell stuff until she graduated from Oracabessa and started selling at the hotel down in Boscobel. It was then Playboy that moved from Marrakesh to Playboy, And so I would go with her down to Playboy, and she'd set up the grip, open it up, and people would come and buy shirts and stuff. And you know, there was a sense of trust, because we didn't have, you know, we didn't fear people were gonna take our things and not pay for it. So, you know, this fortnight, they used to get paid by fortnight. This fortnight, they'll come out and take stuff, and they say, okay, next fortnight. And the mama would write it in the book. You know, John owe me $50, John owe me $10, whatever it is. And in the next fortnight, John will come out, pair up for the stuff that he took the last time, and then take some other stuff again. And, you know, that's how the thing went for and that started back in about 1967, 68, somewhere there. And that's what took my mom all the way until she left in 1978. She was, I mean, I saw her build a house from that. I saw her bought like 3 or 4 cars. That's how I learned to drive. You know, so that type of enterprising thing about my mom, you know, is probably where I get this thing to wanting to be in business. I've been in business over 25 years. And so, but yeah, I walked a lot of miles with my mom on weekends. So we'll go from Oracabessa, we'll take Macaulay's bus on a Saturday, and we'll take the bus all the way up the top of Retreat Content, and then we would walk all the way down. That's probably about 5 miles, walking all the way through Content and stopping at every house and selling people stuff. And so by the time we'll walk from Content to Rio Nova, and then we'll get a bus from Rio Nova to Stuartown, and then we walk all the way through Stuartown from the top where Mango Valley starts, all the way to Boscobel to Playboy Hotel, and that would be about 3 miles. And we stop at every house and sell people everything, and collect money. So when we go out on a weekend, we would sell and collect money. And then so Mama know, because she's a lady and she do business on the road and she collect money, she used to put the money in my pocket, right? She used to put the money in my pocket and say, you know, not tell nobody that this is here. Tell nobody that this is here. And so by the time we get home, then she would just come into my pocket and take the stuff. But I'll tell you this, that all of that walking, you know, most of it was barefoot for me, because I only had 1 pair of shoe, and the 1 pair, it was only for church. So when I would walk, it was hot, and oh my God, it was really hot. If we go there in the middle of the day, walking down Rio Nuevo, walking down Stuartown. Stuartown was my favorite place to stop at, because that's where I was born. And then there are people there who knew me, so they, you know, come in and, you know, come boy, come and get some food and stuff. And, you know, and I'd go pick orange or pick Nisberry in other people's houses so I can eat. And it's been really, really, you know, for the people who know the houses who are in Stuartown, the houses, Grandma house was, I think she was my godmother. And so we used to stop at her bar and chat with her the whole day. She used to love my body, you know. And then we would go up to Tamarind Tree, where that's up in Boscobel, and we would take a bus from Tamarind Tree and head home. That's right next to Playboy Hotel. But that all took place while I went to school for the first time up to about 1969, 1970, I think it was when she bought her first car. So but those days, you know, it was all barefoot walking, and I was the one who was carrying the grip. My mom just walked and greet people. So walk and greet everybody, but I have the grip on my head, walking all of those miles. I mean, they used to call me Hannah. They used to call me Hannah when I was a kid, because the 1 pair of shoes, Mama would sometimes let me walk because it's so hot, and she knew that it's summer, no one's gonna. So she'll let me go with the shoe, But then by the time I get off the bus and start walking, I should say, bun me. So I had to take the shoes off and walk barefoot and the shoe in my hand. So they called me Hannah. That's crazy. People, Jamaican people give all kind of nickname. But those were, I wouldn't consider, people tend to think, the first thing they do is say, oh, those were the good old days. But it's if I think about it, it was really hard times. I wouldn't want to live like that again because it wasn't easy. It wasn't a cakewalk at all. And so, because I did a lot of walking. One time the hair on my head was going straight up because I'd walk with so much the grip was on there so much. But as I say, I've seen my mom grow, or her growth over the years with that same business. She was the first one on that North Coast. We built our business from just walking around Oracabessa to going to Boscobel, and then by the time she got her first car and second car and third car, we were going to Three Hills and Charlestown and Ocho Rios and St. Anne Bay and Priory and Port Maria and Galena. We were going. I mean, Mama had such a big business by that time. It was really, really good to see. I enjoyed thinking about how she just spread her wings during those days, doing the same thing. And then after she became very successful with it, and we saw a lot of other people coming in and doing the same thing. But yeah, Gilling was my mom's thing, and it probably gave me some ideas about wanting to be in business for myself and spreading my wings also. This is Leo on the fifth segment of this vlog.